Good morning, algebra students, or good afternoon, or good evening, however, whenever you're doing this. Okay, so here's what we're talking about. We're talking about something that's different. It looks a little bit like geometry because it is. Now, here's the thing. There's an issue that arises when measuring certain things. Either something really big or something that is far away. How can you measure certain things that you really physically can't touch? Now, if I wanted to measure this piece of paper, let's say, I could take out a ruler and physically measure it, okay? I can say how long it is from top to bottom, from left to right. I could even measure the diagonals going from one corner to the opposite corner. There's all these things I could do to directly measure it. But there's a thing we have indirect measurement. And in that case, what it means is that we are looking at stuff that may not necessarily be able to measure directly. Things that are too big or too, far away that we can't physically put our hands on and measure. So imagine for a second that we can't touch these two triangles. Now, what this statement says here is triangle ABC is similar to triangle DEF. Similar being the key term. Now, when we get to geometry, you're going to learn this. Similar means same shape but different size. And in that case, it also means the sizes are proportional. Proportional being the big key term here. Proportional means I could use cross multiplication. Okay? So, I know this has to be a cross multiplication. So there's two things I have to solve here. I don't know what ED is, Ed, and I don't know what AC is, air conditioning. Okay? So I have Ed over here. Let me highlight it with a funny color. Let's highlight it in a green. Okay, I don't know what Ed is. And I don't know what AC is. Those two are unknown to me. But I know a couple of things. Since these triangles are similar, both of them are similar, they're different sizes. I'm going to look at BC and EF. They're the same part of just the different triangles. Now, if you imagine this, there's the longest side on the bottom, the shortest side on the left-hand side on both of these, and the in-between side, the middle side, the in-between, I'm going to call it side. It's not the biggest, it's not the small. BC is the same as EF. It's just on a different triangle, but they're similar. So that means these are proportional. So I'm going to say over here, I'm going to go to the bottom. And for this problem, I'm going to get a lighter blue. I'm going to say for a second that I can put these sides in a cross multiplication problem. Here I'm going to have triangle A, or ABC, and here I'm going to have triangle DEF. Now, BC is 16. I'm going to put that on top. I'm going to say I'm going to keep the middle one on top. I determined that. Now over here on DEF, I'm going to say EF is 12 from our information here. So if I put this on the top, the same spot, the same side on top here, I have to put the same spot on top here. Now, let's tackle AC first. Well, AC is unknown. I don't know what that is, so I'm going to call it an X. So underneath the big triangle, on the big triangle, the biggest side I'm going to put on the bottom. Now, over here, the biggest side I have a value for. This bottom side is X here, but here it's 18. So this is the little triangle. This is the big triangle. This is the middle side, the second longest side. This is the second longest side. This is the longest side on this triangle, and this is the longest side on this triangle. Now we know how to do the work, though. Butterfly method. Remember, we only use this type of multiplication when there's an equal sign between them. Okay, that's the only time you're allowed to use cross multiplication. So I'm going to do a little bit more work, take out a purple one. 12 times x is 12x. I'm going to turn on the light so I can grab my calculator. And here we go, clear. The one I don't know is, what's 16 times 18? So 16 times 18 is 288. Okay. Getting there, getting there. Next step, right, if we remember correctly, let's pick some orange. Next step, I remember correctly, I got to divide, because the only thing left here with the x is I got to get the x by itself is 12 times x. So I got to do the opposite of 12 times x. I got to divide by 12. I'm not going to even bother putting this one in the calculator because I know 12 divided by 12 is 1. That gives me my answer, what I want, x equals, and then it's 288 divided by 12. Again, that's another number I definitely don't know enough about, so I'm going to put it in the calculator. Comes out nice and even in this case. I like that. 24. X equals 24. So going all the way back to the top, now I don't have an x for here. Now I have a value, 24. Now next thing is I want to solve for ED, Ed. Well, Ed is the smallest side. I can use the same proportions I used before, or I can have this new proportion, 18 and 24, that I could do now. I'm going to stick with the ones I know. Okay, so there we go. Let me make some space here. I'm going to do this one a little bit smaller. But I'm going to keep the pattern the same so it's easy on us. On the left side, I'm going to put the big triangle. I'm going to put the side I know, BC, 16, and its corresponding side, the side that's the same position on this triangle, will go over here, 12. So right now, this doesn't look much different. Now, what I want to find, though, now is ED. Now, ED is on this triangle, or AB. The smallest side is on this triangle. It's 10. So this is the big triangle. Its smallest side is 10. In this triangle, its smallest side is our unknown again. We're back to an x. Okay? So I'm going to put an x over here. So, keep working. We do our cross multiplication. 16 times x, 16x, easy enough, equals, bring that down, 10 times 12, a little bit easier. I don't necessarily have to do it in the calculator, but if I want to, I can. 10 times 12 is 120. Next step. Almost the same exact thing here. I'm going to divide. Let's pick another color. Red. I'm going to divide both sides by what? Well, I got to get x by itself. I have 16 times x, so the opposite of multiplication is division. And so 16 times 16, I don't need to do that in the calculator. It's just x equals. Now 120 divided by 16, I don't know off the top of my head. So I'm going to do this. 120 divided by 16. And I get this number, 7.5. Ah, it's a fraction. It's a decimal, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. That's just the right answer. So 7.5. So we got another one done. Good job, guys. Okay, I will be back in. Let me move this back up here so you guys can see this as we're going out. I will be back in with the independent practice. All right, I'll talk to you soon.